Welcome and thank you for joining us for this edition of Coach's Corner. My name is George Webb. I'm one of the assistant coaches here for the Dover-Sherburne Raiders, and I'm here with Steve Ryan, who is head coach of our Raiders. So, Steve, here we are. We're getting ready for our first playoff game. The team is standing at 8-0.
Yeah, it's an exciting time of year. The kids have played hard, and this is their reward.
So we go into let's talk about the playoff format for a little bit, and then we'll talk about the Norton game, and then we'll talk about our competitor coming up. So the MIAA rankings, they seed the top 16 teams, right? And can you explain to the audience how the playoffs work?
So, there's about 30-something teams, and the top 16 make the playoffs in Division 5. We ended up being the 8th seed, so we play the 9 seed. The winner of that goes and plays the winner of the 1-16 game.
Okay, and so it's 3 games to the playoff, and then whoever's left, then it's a Super Bowl for Division 5, and the kids get to play in Gillette if they make it that far. So it's a lot of fun. So let's go back. Last game, so we won the TVL Small alone. We had a share after the Millis game, but now we won it outright because nobody else was close. So congratulations. That's the first time we've had a TVL championship alone in, 44 years?
Must be 44, right?
44 years now. So congratulations to you and the whole coaching staff. That's a lot of continuity over the last 7 years and an achievement for the team. So there we go. So we have the sole ownership of the TVL Small. So when we get into the playoffs here, we have Watertown at home on Friday night at 6:30. We're going to talk about them in just a minute and our scouting report. But let's go back a little bit and talk about the Norton game. We were just down in Norton. It's a long bus ride down there. Those guys have had a long season. We'll leave it at that. And this was their Super Bowl. They came out fighting.
Yeah, very impressive team actually. They came in 0-7 into that game, and They did not want to be pushed around, and they gave us all we could handle. The final score didn't really tell the story. We scored 14 points in the final minute. So before that, it's a 5-point game going into, and they had the ball.
And they had a good amount of the momentum in the first half. We went into the half, it was 14-14 thereabouts, and put a little scare into the team, our guys. So they had to knuckle down in the second half.
Well, it's a good thing, right? A little bit of adversity, and we see how we handle it. And I was proud of how we played in that second half. A couple of slight adjustments, and really the kids more or less figured it out. There were a couple of plays that they were running offensively, and they caught us a little bit off guard. But in the second half, they ran those plays, and we were sitting there waiting for them.
Final score is 33-14, but that doesn't tell the whole story. And it seemed like it was offense, but really it was defense that really carried the day for us.
Yeah, right at the end there, we scored 2 defensive touchdowns. Had been 19-14, and the defense. I think they took a couple shots in the first half and came out second half and were very played prideful and stepped up and stopped the Norton offense that was pushing it down the field on us.
So credit to Norton, again, to come out and play a full 48 minutes of football. They really were looking to spoil our perfect season up until that point, and they certainly gave us their best shot. But for us to go 8-0 and then come out with a win after being down a little bit, probably not bad conditioning for the road ahead.
Right. And now, this whole week is just about prepping for Watertown.
Let's talk about that, because we told the guys, I said, you can get away with, a little bit of the things that, a little sloppiness with penalties and those types of things in a regular season, but really have to focus and make sure we minimize those because those penalties will cost us quite a bit when we get into playoff situations. So maybe can you talk a little bit about the week of practice and how we're preparing for Watertown?
Well, we just got films on Watertown yesterday, so, as coaches, we've all been breaking those down, trying to see what we think they'll do to us. The practice today was very spirited. I thought it was a great practice. The kids had high energy and were very. They executed very cleanly. But the point we want to get across to them is that you never know. Once the game comes, we're doing all this prep work and we think we know what they're going to do, but any team, including ourselves, can come out and change things around and give you a look that you're not used to. So we have to be ready for everything.
Practice has been good this week. The kids seem focused. It was really interesting when we won the TVL Small. Last year, you got the Gatorade.
Yeah, yeah, and that was just something now that's more routine for us, right? We want to do that every year, and we're trying to expect that, so it's a good thing.
And they did. There's no Gatorade this year, so they really wanted to win the TVL Small straight out. We did, and the goal last year was get to the playoffs and win a game. So the team's focused. They've been here before. In fact, we played Watertown last year at home in the first round of the playoffs, and we were able to get past them, and then we ended up playing Swampscott in the next round. But the Watertown team that we're going to play this year, pretty similar to last year, or how do we see them being a little different?
They're just as physical. That was a really tough team last year, and they're certainly just as physical. I think their quarterback has taken strides. He's a very good runner, very good thrower. Defensively, they're in your face, right? They're going to try and press our receivers, and they're up close on the line of scrimmage and make you beat them.
So that's the way they come out last year. They were a ground and pound first half. They kind of wanted to take the ball and run it down the field on us. We had a pretty athletic O-line and D-line last year, and I think we loosened it up in the second half. But they're going to be looking to do the same thing here.
Absolutely. That's their game. It's a tough team. They want to pound it on you, and they want you to try and pound it on them, and they think they can stop you.
So they're the 9 seed, we're the 8 seed, but this is going to be one of the toughest teams when you take a look at the 16 in the playoffs. So I wouldn't let the seeding fool anybody. This is probably going to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams that get to the tournament this year.
Right. I mean, there's a reason they're 5-3 and we're 8-0, and basically we're right at the same exact rankings. So their competition that they've been playing is very tough, and that's what elevated their ranking.
So they've been spying us a little bit. I think we had the Watertown coach in the stands for the Bellingham game. So I think credit to the Watertown staff. They anticipated maybe a Dover-Sherburne and Watertown rematch. Any thoughts on kind of some of the game prep that we're doing for them without giving too much away?
Yeah, we're if they're going to press our receivers, we'll try to run by them. If they're going to back off our receivers, we'll try to run underneath them. If they're going to give us 5 guys in the box, we'll run it up the middle. And if they spread out their defense, we'll attack it wherever they give us the bubble.
Coaches are focused. Team is focused. This is we know what we're coming out to do, and it's we're not thinking anything further than just playing Watertown here on Friday night. Any final thoughts before we kind of give a wrap and some of the logistics for the crowd?
Just as this is such an exciting time of the year. The MIAA, one of the things they get right is how exciting they make the playoffs. And these brackets and, the Friday night games against tough teams, it's just an exciting time of year.
Our guys are pretty healthy too, right, coming into this game?
Yeah, I think we're pretty good.
So we're going to be ready. Friday night, 6:30 p.m. here at home. Dover-Sherburne 8-0 taking on Watertown at 5-3, first round of the MIAA playoffs for Division 5. Our guys are going to have a challenge. Biggest game of the year. 12th man is really important. It is no joke when we have a full crowd over here in the stadium and the stands are full. It makes it different. It makes it harder for the opposing offense and the quarterback to have their cadence heard. And it leads to penalties that can help our team. The other thing is the energy that you give to the guys really motivates them to give them to play their best ball for the home crowd. So we'd ask you again, particularly for this game. It's supposed to be a nice night. I think I was looking at it. It's supposed to be mid-60s. Doesn't get much better than that. Early November for a home football game. So again, we'd hope that all of you come out and cheer on the team. For those that can't be in Dover or the Boston area, Dover-Sherburne TV is going to put on the website over here. We're going to stream the game live on YouTube TV, and you'll be able to watch for parents, grandparents, whoever's traveling. You can tune in and watch the game live as it's broadcast here. One last thing we'll do is we'll also put up the email address for any questions for Coach Ryan and the staff as part of Coach's Corner. So I'd encourage you to send those in, and we'll make sure we'll ask the appropriate staff members or players any questions you might have. Thank you again for joining us for this edition of Coach's Corner. My name is George Webb, and hopefully we'll see you here next week when we're advancing, hopefully past Watertown and getting to the second round of the playoffs. Thanks again for joining us.